All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks has called out Joe Rogan. He wants him to fight. He wants to fight Joe Rogan. And he's betting people on Twitter that he'll win. And you want to know why? Because he's bigger than Joe and he's been fighting his whole life. Direct quote. We'll get into it. Now, why is he so angry at Joe Rogan? Answer. The same reason that guy Trent was that wrote the thing about Joe Rogan getting fired. It blew their brains apart to the point where they will do anything to cancel him, right? He's uncancelable, which really makes them mad. Mad enough that a person like Cenk Uyger would say, I'll beat him up. I'll beat him up. Now, that in and of itself should tell you a lot about the amount of research that people are doing about these things they're talking about. Like you just went on, you got millions of followers, and you just went on and just directly said, I will beat this guy up. And you're like, huh. Well, that makes me want to think back to other things you said and be like, so was he researching that either? Because I mean, a simple Google search would have been like, all right, if I'm going to say publicly on Twitter that I would end Joe Rogan, maybe what I should Google first is Joe Rogan martial arts experience. I mean, that's what I would have done, you know, because it's 2021. You can't just throw around, I beat the hell out of that guy. And you want to know why? Because anyone who has ever trained and gone to a gym knows that there are a lot of people that train and go to the gym. And you also know that if you haven't trained and gone to the gym, then you're not beating anyone up. You're not beating anyone up who has any significant training, unless you are so vastly bigger and stronger than them that, you know, that's your only chance. Now, you think you have that level of size and strength advantage over Joe, and then, by the way, you still don't know that he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and he could kick your face off a dozen different ways. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. But because it was Cenk Uyger and I dislike him so much anyway, I decided to do some research. Has Cenk Uyger really done any fighting? Has he? Because he has, it turns out. And I found the footage. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys, anybody who doesn't know who Cenk Uyger is, I'm going to go ahead and just outline his career for you. You know, I'm going to show you who he is. You can get an idea in your mind right out of the gate as soon as you see him on camera, like, well, I wonder if this guy could beat up Joe Rogan. Then we're going to go through some footage of Joe Rogan fighting, some other relevant footage, and then I'm going to show you Cenk Uyger because I did find a video of him fighting, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it either, but I did. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's going to be a really good time. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. As soon as you saw Cenk Uyger had posted this, I would imagine anybody who follows my channel was like, oh man, I can't wait to see what Jesse does with this. I'm the equivalent of a walk-on YouTube, right? No scholarship, just walked on and just grinded all the way here. And you want to know how I did it, how I stood out? Eviscerating people like Cenk Uyger. So, you know, Josh Fabia, Trent Rainsmith, any of these people that deserve it. I'm telling you, like, they can come at me one by one and I will crush them from the inside. Anyway, but so yeah, Cenk, go ahead, give my channel some heat if you don't like what I do here. So, also, I wanted to plug Napoleon Blown Apart's channel. It is an awesome channel. A Napoleon Blown Apart. If you like Mixed Molly stuff, you'll like his as well. Give it a run. Anyway, so like, here's how I want to do this. So we're going to start off, I'm going to show you guys who Cenk Uyger is, okay? So he has he's like the Young Turks is his YouTube channel. They have a lot of subscribers. They don't have very much engagement anymore because they are bought off institutionalists that just spew propaganda all day long. But any of that is just irrelevant, okay? Like, just so we're clear, that entire group, they all hate Joe Rogan now. And so that's why, as they try to slander Joe Rogan, I am going to slander them. Although my slander is real, because I'm going to take real footage and just show you who he is. Now, anyway, let's look at him real quick. Now, here's going to be the first time that you see this guy talk. You know, evaluate. Can this guy beat up Joe Rogan? Ready? Boom.
But back then, I was trying to prove how politically incorrect I am. So I wrote a lot of silly things, wrong things, outrageous things.
Okay, let's just stop there. You wrote outrageous things back then. Oh gosh, you've advanced so much, man. Like, you know, right then he was going to make a run for Congress, which failed, obviously. And he was, he wanted to address some of the crazy things he had said. You know, back then I wrote outrageous things. It's like, and you just said you could beat up Joe Rogan. Okay, cool. Continuing, what else you got? Boom.
It's just a fact. So and so they go purchase all these Democratic politicians, and the politicians win when they have more money, especially in primaries. And if you're in safe blue states or safe blue districts, all you gotta do is win the primary.
I actually totally agree with him there. You know, I totally agree with him there. Maybe he should think about that concept, buying Democrat politicians, as it relates to the thing that Joe Rogan said that has made him so upset that he just can't take it. He's gotta beat him up. He's gotta beat him up. So let's just go ahead and look at his tweet real quick, just so we're clear on exactly what happened. He made some post about how because he could destroy Joe Rogan, does that make your toxic masculinity upset? I thought you guys were all alpha males. I was like, dude, it's people are so lame, man. But anyway, so some guy responded to that. He's like, I'll make you a $1,000 donation to your trash network or your charity of choice to see you call Rogan, who is not only the most successful podcast in history, but also a black belt in mixed martial arts, a loser to his face. Now, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, good job, Mr. M. I agree that, Cenk should be afraid of Joe Rogan. But here's what Cenk should have said, right? Because here's what the reality is. Joe Rogan's not going to beat up Cenk Uyger, okay? Like, he's not just going to attack Cenk Uyger if you go, hey, Joe, you're a loser. What would happen is Joe would eviscerate him verbally because Joe's smarter than he is. And he's also is beating him in every single category. What on earth could Cenk Uyger possibly say to Joe Rogan? Okay, so that's what would happen. He would go, you're a loser. And then Joe would be like, and boom, I have so much ammo to just, gut you with that it would be ridiculous. So Cenk should have just said, deal, I'll call him a loser to his face. Easiest money I've ever made. What do you think, he's going to beat me up? That's what he should have said, right? Which is kind of how he started. Deal. Easiest 1,000 I've ever made. You think he's going to assault me? Sure, whatever. Okay, that's it. Good job, Cenk. That's it. The end. Like, just leave it there. But you can't, dude. You can't. Remember you made the joke about Joe Rogan and their toxic masculinity. Oh, really? But you couldn't respond to some random Twitter guy without being like, you know what? No, I'm not going to let that shit slide. Because the next thing, that's incredibly dumb, but also wouldn't work. I'm much larger than Joe. Now, I've been fighting my whole life. I would end him. But grown-ups don't do that. I'll send you the P.O. box for the check later. I would end him. I'm way bigger than Joe. And I've been fighting my whole life. Really? Can't just say that in 2021, dude. Where have you been fighting? Are you talking about like you punched someone in 2001 in a bar that wasn't looking? Is that what we're talking about? Are you like fighting your whole life? Like where? Where, dude? Because Joe Rogan's a black belt in Taekwondo tournament, like a tournament fighter as he was growing up. And he's been a black belt in 10th Planet under Eddie Bravo for 9-10 years? So that's what Joe Rogan's been doing. That's what fighting your whole life looks like. And anyway, the next thing we're going to do actually is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to show some footage of Joe Rogan fighting in case like Cenk or any of his idiotic followers actually see this. Okay, so this is what fighting your whole life actually looks like. Let me also give you a little skeleton key for how you should be looking at these things. Okay, so like if a person like me who's actually been kicked in their leg, their body, and their head before sees this type of video, what I'm thinking is I am pretending I am the heavy bag, right? So like I see Joe Rogan kick the heavy bag in a certain position and I go, I'm pretty sure that my internal organs would literally blow up. Like I'm not convinced that a vast majority, or not vast majority, but a vast number of people who took a direct spinning back kick to the solar plexus from Joe Rogan wouldn't die. Like I actually think he could kill a person with a body shot if it was the wrong person. The kick is that powerful. If you kicked him just in the wrong spot, I really believe that. Like that he could kill someone with a body shot. You just crush like 6 of their ribs. Like anywho. But so let's just watch it. Actually, I'm sure most of you guys have seen this before, but let's just recap Joe Rogan kicking things. Let's go. Boom.
Stiff leg it like this.
Oh, good night. Good night, Cenk.
I didn't want to do it the way I always did it because it puts a lot of pressure on your knees. It's the most powerful kick.
Just heel to the jaw. Now this is the one. Dude.
So it's not a spin, it's a turn.
I'm telling you, a smaller person dies if you kick him like that.
So you stand like this.
Good night, Cenk.
It comes in like this.
Good night, Cenk.
As it's coming in.
Bah! All right, let's pause there. So, yeah. Now, obviously, I assumed Cenk hadn't seen those videos before he made those comments. But don't worry, we're going to show you guys Cenk's athleticism because I found him being athletic and also fighting. So you're going to get to evaluate Joe Rogan as a fighter versus Cenk Uyger, and we will, we'll see what you guys think. Now, next, since Joe Rogan is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but there's no footage of him rolling that I could find, I think what was important is for Cenk or anyone else that questions this outcome to understand what happens in jiu-jitsu if you can't, tap out. It's like, good move, tap, tap, tap. So real quick, let me just show you what it looks like if someone who doesn't know how to roll goes up against someone who's a black belt and can choose any number of things that they could use to disjoint you. So just so we're clear, this is what Cenk would be looking at. Ready? Boom. Oh, God.
Come on, James.
All right, let's stop there. So Cenk, if you got, if you were able to navigate the kicks and you got close enough to Joe to where he could put his hands on you, that's what happens to your arm or your elbow. Pop, pop. That's if he decided not to take your back and strangle you to death, right? Which would be incredibly easy. So this is the part where I'm gonna just show you guys, because I did find footage of Cenk being athletic and then Cenk also fighting. And so we're gonna go to that. I bet you guys didn't think that I'd be able to find that. He said he'd been fighting his whole life. He was telling the truth. Now, unfortunately for him, he's fighting a girl, okay? He's fighting a girl. So win or lose doesn't necessarily apply, to a Joe Rogan fight. But let's just watch what that looks like, because, if he can't beat up a girl, how do you think he's gonna do it against Joe? Let's watch it. Ready? Boom. I mean, in fairness, she looks like she's trained. Get in there, Cenk. Get in there, Cenk. Oh no. Oh, no. No. Don't tap, Cenk. Don't tap to strike, Cenk. Oh, man. Oh, man, this is not looking good. Oh, he's tapping. He's tapping. He's tapping. He is tapping. Jeez, that was, A for effort, though, Cenk. A for effort. And so I guess the moral of this story is, before you run your mouth on Twitter, Google who you're talking about. And by the way, this is me hungover. I can't even think straight. If this video ends up funny, that'll be a miracle. Think of what I could do if my brain was sharp. Well, you don't have to imagine, because I've put plenty of evisceration videos out. But anyway, that's what I've got. So good job, Cenk. Good luck in that fight, dude. Good luck. Looking good in that fight against the girl, dude. That's what I got. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell.